Hey, I'm Sheryl, and welcome to the Secure Woman podcast. I used to think the day my husband left was the moment that broke me, but it wasn't. The truth is, I'd been abandoning myself for months before he ever walked out the door, but it took me 18 months to understand that. By the time he left, we'd already had the conversations. He'd already told me he was leaving, so in some ways, nothing about that day should have surprised me. The real story isn't the day he left. The real story is everything I talked myself out of before it. And it wasn't just one thing. And that's what I want you to hear today. It's almost never just one thing. See, when we got married, he kept his apartment, a 2 bedroom, 2 bath apartment. He had a roommate, and he called it our little love shack. It would be a place that we could go and escape to when we wanted quiet time away from my 3 children. And every month, hundreds of dollars went toward that apartment instead of our household. And something about it didn't sit right with me. I felt suspicious, but he explained it away, and I let him. Looking back now, that wasn't just a red flag. That was the first time I overrode my own instincts. Then came the money. Early in our marriage, he convinced me to give him a debit card to my checking account. See, I earned more than twice what he did. Plus, I received child support. He told me all of his income would stay in his account, and that would be our savings towards buying a house. Meanwhile, since he was head of the household, he paid the bills, and I'd simply write him a check to reimburse him. So in reality, I was paying for almost everything. I had no visibility into his account. I had no idea how much he was saving. I had no access to his 401k, and I sat with that too. I explained it away. Another moment I overrode what I already knew. Later, when he filed for divorce, he told his attorney that he'd paid all the bills while we were married. So my attorney subpoenaed his bank records, and it proved exactly what I had been saying all along, that I had been paying all the bills. And when his attorney found out the truth, he immediately wanted to settle between us. Then there was my birthday. One July, he bought me beautiful gifts with my money, and I knew it. And once again, I explained it away. See, none of these moments felt big enough on their own. Each one seemed survivable, explainable. But see, that's how these patterns work. It's rarely one dramatic event. It's several quieter moments, each one easy to dismiss by itself, each one another opportunity to override what I already knew. And alongside all of that were 9 months of smaller moments, comments, criticisms, little betrayal, each one testing how far he could push before I'd finally push back. And I twisted myself into a pretzel trying to make him happy. That's honestly the only way I know how to describe it. I kept reshaping myself, trying version after version, looking for the woman who would finally be enough. There never was one, and there never was going to be one. And somewhere along the way, he stopped criticizing what I did and started telling me who I was. And here's the part that still breaks my heart. I let his version of me overwrite my own. I started believing his story instead of mine. Then, just a couple of days before Christmas, he came to the front door and said, "Marrying you was the biggest mistake I ever made." And then he left. That wasn't another small moment. That was like the knife that would cut me open, and he turned and twisted it. But today, I see something completely different. That sentence told me far more about him than it ever did about me. It revealed a deeply unhappy man, a man no amount of me changing could ever fix. I ended up on the floor of that house, not metaphorically, literally. And in many ways, I stayed there for a long time. And here's what I didn't understand then. That moment on the floor wasn't the beginning. It was simply the moment the pattern became impossible to ignore. The real beginning was the apartment, the debit card, the birthday gifts, the pretzel twisting, letting someone else's version of me overwrite my own. The floor wasn't where the damage started. It was where I finally saw it. Now, I want you to think about your own life, not just the one story you'd tell your best friend. Think about the second thing, the third thing, the quiet moments you've carried alone, the ones you've explained away, because the pattern is almost never one warning sign. It's several moments where you override what you already know. See, I work with incredibly capable women, executives, teachers, nurses, business owners, women who successfully lead teams, manage households, solve impossible problems. Yet almost every one of them asks me the same question. I'm competent everywhere else. Why do I keep losing myself in relationships? For years, we've been given the wrong answer. We're told it's communication or compatibility or boundaries, but I want to offer you something different. I don't think it's a communication problem, and I don't think it's a compatibility problem. And while boundaries matter, I don't think that's the deepest issue either. What I have found and what I know to be true is it's a self-trust problem. See, self-trust isn't confidence. You can be confident in every other area of your life and still not trust yourself in love. Self-trust is believing your own perception is reliable, that when something feels wrong, you don't need someone else to confirm your reality before you're allowed to respond. When self-trust is missing, something feels off. And instead of honoring that feeling, you override it. You tell yourself you're overreacting. You're too sensitive. You're asking for too much. You give the other person the benefit of the doubt while withholding that same grace from yourself. You do it once, then again, until overriding yourself becomes your default setting. That's the pattern beneath the pattern. And it usually starts long before the relationship ever does. Today, I simply want you to find your own floor moment, not so you can relive it, but so you can study it and ask yourself, how many times did I override what I already knew before I got here? Not one thing. How many? Because your floor moment isn't just pain, it's data. It points directly to where you stopped trusting yourself. And if you're willing to learn from it, it becomes the doorway back to yourself. If you'd like to go deeper, I'd love to invite you to my free 7 days to choosing you challenge. Day one is built entirely around finding your floor moment and understanding everything that led you to it. You'll find the link in the show notes and in my bio. And until next time, remember this: your floor moment wasn't the beginning of your pain. It's the moment you could no longer ignore the places you stopped trusting yourself. Join today, and I'll see you in day one.